Hello, this is Paul Milligan for IC Show TV. Thanks for joining us. We're here at IC 2019 and this is the latest in our series of panel discussions we're hosting. This one has got an audio flavour to it. So joining me today, at the end we're honoured to be joined by the Innovation Awards Consultant of the Year.
Oh, I'm honoured to actually be
Anders Jorgensen from Consultant Group Stouenborg. In the middle here is Bernd Schindler from Consultants IB Schindler. Welcome, Bernd. Yep. And next to me is Martin Bonsoir from Biamp. So it's great to have a manufacturer along just to give that extra viewpoint. So this one, like I said, is looking at audio. Obviously we've seen in the marketplace the growth of huddle rooms and open spaces, open plan offices. Does this mean that audio has to be more intelligent in corporate spaces? So Martin, do you think audio has to think harder, work harder in these types of spaces?
It certainly does, yes. In the huddle spaces, people now will expect to concentrate in the conversation rather than having to concentrate on the technology that enables that. And that puts the emphasis on the technology to provide the solution so then people can go about, have their conversation in the meeting without having to cognizant of what the system is doing for them.
Yeah. So completely unintrusive then?
Correct, yes. And they should be able to move about, they should be able to do what they need to do without having to have a steep learning curve or how to switch this on or how to turn it on, or having to be too preoccupied of whether the microphone is picking them up, the camera is picking them up or not. They just want to go about having the meeting without having to worry about the technology behind it.
Bernd, you think the audio we have now is working for open spaces and huddle rooms and things, or do you think we need to build more intelligence into those kind of products?
It sometimes it's still difficult because I've seen some change in the last years. So I think, let's say 5 years ago, we were working on standardized rooms for our customers. Standardized in many ways in terms of technology, but also in terms of interior design and other stuff. And that factor is changing. They still want to standardize technology, but each room should be different in some way, like types of tables and furniture and walls and the way how people interact. And this makes it difficult. We can either roll back and dump all the standardization we've done, or we can find solutions from a technology point of view that work in every room or in every kind the room is equipped.
And does the open spaces and huddle rooms provide you guys with a headache when you have to design them?
Well, of course it does, but it also gives us a very good challenge, I think. We've seen places in corporate facilities where we're trying to emphasize the acoustics by intelligent acoustics, active acoustics, which really helps creating these environments where everything's possible with a press of a button or we're changing things. So I think especially that customization of the huddle room or open spaces is really important, and that can actually transform things into different kind of spaces that you need for the specific type of things you're doing.
Sure. And is there also, you think of huddle rooms and things, it's maybe a directional audio pointing to a particular area of that open space. But also, does that then raise the other option of the problem of noise pollution? Because there might other people there that don't want any audio. Does that?
Yeah, true.
Is that the other side of that coin almost?
Well, that is definitely the challenge, that you pollute if you don't do it clever and if you don't have an idea of how well distributed things should be, how non-distributed should be, and how you can actually do it intelligently to control it, so that, for instance, using active acoustics would means that you would be able to create spaces, a little cheese bell around people, so they can actually work there in their own environment without disturbing anyone around them.
Sure. I mean, we're talking about clever and intelligent, Martin. Are the products there, or is the intelligence in the design or the architecture of the room maybe?
Right, I will argue that the problems are getting there.
Yeah.
I do believe that still we've got a long way to go. Sure. Certainly we have improved massively.
It's a new problem, this, isn't it?
Right, yeah. But we have improved massively over a number of years. We used to have microphones that were very directional, they were thin. Then we went into microphone arrays, they will go into lobes that you can adjust, and we now move into microphones that can intelligently follow people. Yeah. Those are all steps that will aid the design of the rooms. So we are getting there. As a technologist, I would always think that there's always more that can be done. Although I will agree with Anders that there's a huge role to be played. Like the technologies that are available still leave a lot of room for the proper design, understanding what the customer's needs are, and then trying to use the available technology to provide the solution that's specific for that particular customer.
Sure. Bernd, do you think the intelligence is in the room design or the architecture or in the products right now? Where is that sort of clever bit of
It's in all the aspects. I found in my projects, also we have some good relations with the interior architects and all the people. You can't make them get rid of some ideas that are really bad for conferencing in a room, so you have to deal with it. Sometimes unfortunately, sometimes you find a solution. So I see the right approach is smarter technology.
Sure.
Yeah. And I agree with Martin. In the last years, our industry has made some huge steps ahead, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
So basically, if I combine the requirements of my customers and the ideas of the interior design people, I just need a device that can read the people's minds, what they want to do, and adjust all as to the needs.
True. Yeah, definitely.
Just
Indeed,
in one small box.
Exactly.
And I think you touched on that, the open space office, that's something that 10 years ago was not a problem. We just didn't have that.
No.
But now as architecture moves over there and offices tend to go into those problems, that they create new problems, which we need new solutions. And open spaces indeed is depleting from people's conversations and people getting distracted by it.
Sure.
20 years ago, that problem didn't really exist as such. So those are new problems that new technologies need to address it.
I mean, something that came up in the architecture panel discussion that we had at ISE this year was that architects traditionally have zero clue about audio. So are designing rooms that look pretty and nice, but actually a complete nightmare for audio. I mean, is that part of the problem? And
well, we've seen the trend where architects become more and more involved with audio, more and more involved with acoustics, which also effectively means that they take it into consideration when they actually are building. So we have now buildings that will be opening in a couple of years where we started with the audio part in an open office space. Is how do we create this room active acoustically, so we can change it into small huddle rooms, become a big room for conferencing, and still be able to do that with a press of a button, and then we build the room around it. Yeah. So I see there's a trend with architecture, especially with the architectural schools across Europe, that they are keen in getting the acoustics right and getting that problem with audio solved, because they know that their rooms are not better than the ground parameter of the acoustics. Yeah. That acknowledgement is something I see a trend of in the architecture world.
Sure. I mean, something I picked up when doing research for some questions for this debate was that Plantronics have released a system called, I think it's called Soundscape, and it's actually more promoting the sort of wellness side of audio. I mean, do we see that as something, rather than, I'm used to things saying, oh, the vocal clarity in this is incredible, or the directional audio in this is fantastic, it's going to blow your mind. I thought it was really interesting that was actually promoting audio as a kind of wellness tool and actually making us more productive. I think it's pollution.
Yeah, right. I think it's pollution. I mean,
is that something you have to be more aware of?
Yeah, it is something we need to be more aware of, and it's something that I think it's a real challenge to how do you actually get people to understand what that means for you when you're working in that environment, and I don't actually think we've seen the full impact of that yet. Sure.
I mean, Martin, you work for, I'd say an audio manufacturer, but Biamp's becoming a lot more than that, but traditionally audio was pump out as much noise, or perfect, beautiful audio, as possible. And that kind of open space wellness thing kind of goes against that. So how do you? That must be really tough for you as a manufacturer to.
It may be, although personally, I've been working for a home office for a very long time, and then I go and work in an office with other people for a few days, and my productivity drops to almost zero. Okay. I am so used to working in total silence, and then human hearing is designed to, as soon as you hear a voice, your concentration immediately goes to that, whether you like it or not. And indeed, that is a big problem with open space offices, because then you're trying to concentrate on your job, and then your colleague is having a conversation, and in the solution there becomes the exact opposite. Sure. How do you obfuscate the intelligibility of those voices? Well, so then people can concentrate. Yes.
It's really funny. There are systems now where you can actually emphasize and enhance the speech intelligibility where you're working and blur everything around you, which means that you effectively will feel that you're sitting in an environment where you don't listen to what's happening around you, but you're listening to what's happening in your own space, your own comfort zone. That means that you can focus. It means we've seen with the systems we've done with that, we've seen that people actually get more productive, so the production side goes up again, and that's really something I will hope that will be. I know they're quite expensive, these systems, but I also hope that this will be something that will be more trendy in the future.
Sorry, no, it does emphasize what your point saying, the realization that audio is part of someone's well-being. Then maybe perhaps that was not necessarily so clear in the past. But the audio pollution and the audio quality is part of the well-being of the employees.
It used to be, is your monitor at the right height?
Correct.
Or is your seat providing back support?
Can you raise or lower your desk? But now we're looking into a new era where audio will be a big part of that. I think. I hope.
Yes.
Like you said, even the growth of sort of working from home, but that shift between different offices, then the audio levels can be startling, I think.
Yes, it certainly is for me, yes.
Sure. And finally, I wanted to look at, is there the ability to have a bit more intelligence in these systems, i.e., linking it to like room booking, so the room would know how many people were inside, so therefore would set the volume at a certain tone or a certain volume. It'd say, well, there's 6 people in this room, but it's built for 10, so we don't need to pump out audio for 10 people. I mean, is that there, or do you think that was coming? Could we link it all to that? Could we link all those systems together to have that kind of intelligence?
We're right now working at exactly this example that you just told. Like they're having
because we can do that with things like heating, can't we? We can say, well, there's 2 people in this room, so we don't need to pump why not the audio? Have a template almost.
I mean, what would you achieve? So were you talking about the volume of the playback system, or are you talking about the acoustic in a room that can do that?
Not only the volume, but there are occupancy detectors that can count people and locate people inside a space. So basically, if I can treat a room with different presets when I know there are 3 people sitting in the middle of the room at a table, or there are 10 people floating around working wildly across the room.
Yeah, so if you have a microphone, clever microphone pickup array, you would be able to pick it up according to where they were sitting. And
the microphone should still be smart, but if I have more smart microphones, I maybe can even disable the smart microphones in the edges. Just to concentrate on one. The same with lighting, the same with volume, or maybe having more smaller speakers and disabling those I don't need. If there are no people, I don't need to sound reinforce that area. And
you also mentioned, I think it's important, the integration between the different services. You have the audio system, you have the room booking system, you have the Outlook calendar on people's mobile phones, and yes, people will expect all of that to work together and just provide the one solution.
We've seen it in other things, like a meeting room template. I like to use the projector, or I like to use the flat panel, and all those templates can be saved under your work pass or something like that. Why not have all that audio under that as well?
Yeah, so your favorite way of using this room will be on your card. And you use this room 40 times, now you know exactly how you want to set it up.
The room, it knows you're there, it will say hello to
you are. Yes.
But you can do that with face recognition. That'll be even more clever than having your,
but now, interestingly, we're now moving towards the last panel discussion about where software and algorithms comes into play here.
Gents, we could talk all day, but I think we'll probably wrap it up there. It's quite a nice place to end it. Thank you very much for coming, and thanks for joining us for this panel discussion. There's plenty more to watch on the Innovate website, if that's your thing. We'd like you to join us. So thanks for coming, and goodbye.